Hello, hello, and hi there. Welcome to the I'm an Expert at Nothing But Myself podcast. Well, I'll be bringing my own life experiences and trying to make sense of them. I guess call it making cool lemonade out of dry citrus. Well, humor aside, I'm a sucker for good conversation. I could arguably have a fat chat the whole day. With that being said, very loosely, my point is I appreciate human interaction. This podcast brings exactly that, the importance of human interaction. Invite my voice and the voices of my guests into your living room, your lounge, your car, your AirPods, or you know what, wherever you find yourself, and fully immerse yourself in hearing me, quote unquote, figure it out. Enjoy. Let's get into it. Hello. Welcome to the I'm an Expert at Nothing But Myself podcast. This is the intro after the intro. Today's guest, that's what I said, right? Today's guest, Maxime Kasasa, or Max. He's a friend of mine. Met Max in first year, back in my Stellenbosch University days, and then we just became friends from there. I don't know. Yeah, I think if you know me, you know how goofy I am, and we just immediately just connected. Yeah, because we were very goofy. Yeah, you should have seen us walk out those psychology tuts. I must mention, our psychology tutorial, we were one closely knitted family, or that was my experience, because I was able to get along with everyone in that tutorial. Every Friday, I think it was 9 o'clock, if not 9, 10 o'clock, somewhere there, was really good way to start your Friday and end it, But yeah, Max is currently in Belgium. If I'm not mistaken, he's half Congolese, half Belgian. I think so. Could be wrong. I could be messing it up. You'll have to forgive me. But he's currently in Belgium. Lived a few months in Japan, but that was in 2019. And like I said, this is the intro after the intro. Anyway, let's get into it. Let Max speak for himself. Alrighty. But wait. Please wait. You need to hear. It's raining outside. I need you to hear this.
Can you hear that? Okay, I'm in the rain. Goodbye.
Okay, cool, mate. We're here. We're live. Hey, and welcome, man. I think first of all, let me start with the fact that you have a song out there. And I'd just like to congratulate you, man, because I think for the longest time I've known that you make music, you play instruments, so it's really good knowing that you have music out there on a much more professional platform. You're no ordinary. What's that platform called again?
SoundCloud.
Yeah, you're not any ordinary SoundCloud rapper or musician.
SoundCloud rapper.
Exactly.
Gonna get some clout.
Exactly. You have a whole entire song out there on Spotify. I take it it's also on Apple Music, right?
Yeah. It's on everywhere.
So yeah, you're more than welcome to promote it. You go for it.
Yeah, so I think I'll just go from the beginning in terms of for example, not the beginning, I'm going to be jumbled, but yesterday, for example, I was telling my mom, oh yeah, I'm releasing my song. And she's like, oh, in your Instagram, because every Sunday I post on my Instagram like a cover or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, no. I was like, I'm actually like posting a song. She's like, on Spotify? I was like, yeah. She's like, wow.
Oh.
And
yeah.
I don't know why it's like so funny to me that like Spotify is like the barrier to entry to be like, oh, now you're actually trying to make something, like you said, you're not just posting on SoundCloud, you're not just posting on Instagram. It's like, okay, no, now you're planning ahead, and because there's a lot of like back end stuff that I had no idea was a thing.
Yeah.
Like in terms of like distribution, getting the album art, making sure the lyrics are correct, like posting those, making sure that it's like, because you have to, basically what happens is you distribute your song everywhere, because I use a DistroKid.
Yeah.
And I'm sure if anyone uses or like distributes music, they'll probably know about it.
Yes,
but it's like
same thing with the pod and stuff. But I'll jump in just now. Just Karen, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm sure you're aware too. It's like you literally like post it everywhere, and then after the fact, you have to like claim all those profiles, which seems a bit like funny to me, because like imagine like, obviously this wouldn't happen, but imagine like, Drake is like, oh, let me post it, when he did like his first posting and made sure that like, hey bro, someone better claim my profile before some other dude just quickly goes, yeah, I'm Drake, and then just starts
precisely,
posting stuff for him,
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, I think like I think because I'm pretty sure also, well, what's your main platform? Because I have one main platform and then I distribute from there.
What do you mean? Like,
So,
what do you mean platform?
so for example, I use Spotify for podcasters, and on Spotify for podcasters, I distribute it from there. So then I just like, so then there's an option to submit for Apple Podcasts. There's an option to submit for Google Podcasts and
Okay.
Amazon Music.
I didn't know about that.
Then I just drop a link there. So because when I first started, I saw that there's also Spotify for artists or musicians. So I figured in my head that it's more or less the same. Or the layout looks more or less the same.
Sorry, were you finished?
More or less. But yeah, I'm just really interested in knowing how you go about it, because I think sometimes people think it's just like a very easy process. Where there's like a lot of hard work that goes on, where where people think you just drop something. Because,
honestly,
because I mean, like, you drop a 3-minute song, but you spend more than 3 minutes making sure.
Bro, wait, hours.
Exactly, you spend hours making sure a 3-minute song's out, and I spend like hours making sure that a 1-hour podcast is out, like more than an hour. Yeah,
no, for sure. Because like people think, okay, he's recorded the thing and now just upload. It's like, nah, bro, you got to make. I think especially in the beginning, that's like the most work that gets done, because it's like it's your first time posting, and you have to have like your profile photo, you have to have your description, you have to have your links, you have to have links that like coincide with each other. Like you have to make sure that if I'm posting this on my Instagram, like I saw you have your Instagram now, like you have to make sure that the links you have there take you to Spotify, and your Spotify takes you, let's say back to your Instagram for promotion.
Yeah.
Like you have to make sure all those things, it's kind of like roads, that all those roads are linked. And then you have to make sure that across all those platforms, you have the same profile, you have the same biography, and that how you're going to share it, because you can post and, create as much content as you want. But if you're not able to properly promote it or properly like put it out there, like that can be the difference between having, 10 listeners and 100 listeners, for example. But I find with like the way, like I was just looking at your Instagram, and your like the way you're promoting your stuff is really fun, because it's like all personable. It's like just people telling you like how much they love it, and yeah, like that's sort of it's I forgot what type of advertisement it is. It's not like paid, but it's like it's earned, where it's like people are promoting for you. You know,
Yeah.
like you're not telling them, "Hey, yo, go tell people I have a podcast." It's like you're telling people, "Okay, I have one," but then friends of yours are being like, "Hey, bro, check out my friend's podcast because it's really dope." You know, like that you can't really pay for, and I find that that's a pretty good form of promotion,
Yeah.
especially in the beginning.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it carries more value, in my opinion, because
Yeah,
like an art form that you made touched someone, and they felt the need
Yeah.
to share it. You didn't go push them to go share it,
yeah,
because you do the promotion for yourself.
yeah.
I mean, similarly to how I came across your song,
Mm-hmm.
I saw it and I was like, wait, what? You are what? You finally put your music like out there.
Out there.
Yeah, and immediately I didn't waste time. I was like, I'm gonna listen right now, like immediately right
Yeah,
now.
bless you, bro.
And
Bless.
I did exactly that. Yeah, but
Thanks so much.
yeah, man, and yeah, I just looking forward to. I don't know what you're working on, but yeah, I hope you're proud of this project.
Yeah, no. I'm very proud of it. It's funny because like the song started off as like I was telling my friends, I was like, yeah, I'm working on my first song ever, and it's gonna be about like self growth, self development, and that's what I had in my head, and it had a completely different title, completely different lyrics, and then as I was with a friend, Soy, he was with me, and I was like, yeah, I'm trying to find lyrics for the song. And as I'm like working on the lyrics, like words start coming out that have nothing to do with self development, and suddenly I'm talking about like my previous relationship. And I'm like, okay, I guess this is where the song is taking me. And it was literally like the song itself was telling me what I should write instead of I was telling it, which I know sounds very like, oh, you know, I'm facetious, I'm an artiste, and you know the things come to me. But it was literally like that. So, and then it just evolved from there. And then I had like more input from like my singing coach, more input from the guy I mixed it with. And I think that's something I also really realized with like making just this one song is how many people are involved. Because like I mentioned, like no man is an island, you know. So as much as, you know, oh, it's my name on the song, it's like obviously, yeah, I'm the one performing it, but the amount of people supporting in the background, you know, that you'll never see is like the backbone of how I can even be able to make such a song, you know.
Oh, yeah, I think that was like beautifully said, man. Because I think those are like the small puzzle pieces that like everyone misses. The mere fact that there are people carrying you to make sure that this thing happens.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned, like no man is an island. My previous episode, my guest, I was saying to her that as much as like you came into this planet or this earth all by yourself, so we're told, which is a very crappy narrative in my opinion.
I was definitely by some non-believing people.
Yeah, like you are brought into this world by a community. You were made by a community, like literally.
Yeah.
Two people. You need two people to make sure that you come out of this, I don't know, whatever you come out of, and you're on planet Earth.
Yeah.
And even the day you die, God forbid it's not soon.
Yeah, bro, that's inshallah, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God forbid it's not anytime soon. The people who carry that coffin, it's a whole entire community. You don't.
Yeah.
We're literally. I used to say with an old mate of mine, like every time we used to say, we are literally here to walk each other home, and whatever home looks like, we are literally all here to walk each other home. And
hey, but that's a bar.
Take that bar, man. Add it to your song, please.
I might have to. I'm gonna write it down, and then the song blows up. Hey, bro, where's my royalties, motherfucker?
Where's it? I'm literally gonna be there. I'm like, Max, man, come on, man.
Come on, man.
Come on,
That's
man.
my song.
We're both artists, man. Give me some royalties.
I'll give you 0.1%, bro, of my 0.001 cent that I've made.
Man, take it. The credit is all that I'm looking for. But
sorry,
man, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I really am chuffed. I get so giddy when I see artists, whether you're making music, whether you're a visual artist, whether you're an actor, whether stage actor, doesn't matter. But when you're in that world and I still see a level of commitment, I get goosebumps, man. I get serious goosebumps. Whether you're right, I don't care. Because it makes me really happy to see you take your craft seriously. Because I don't know, man. I've also spoken to some people who've just like given up along the way, and I know it's very easy to. Because I was just saying to someone else the other day that I'm kind of tired of speaking to people in corporate because they don't understand me.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, but
it's not the. Sorry, go ahead.
No. You were saying it's not that. You're spitting some serious bars here, man.
No. You're the boss, bro. I'm just taking credit.
No, man, you're spitting some serious bars, man.
Thank you. But yeah, no. Just that when it comes to that, like, because I've also had people like, down the road they stop doing it. It's because, especially creatively, like when you're talking about like music, theater, visual arts, because it's all, unless you're like signed to something, like something bigger than yourself that is like, okay, we need a song, an album by this date. But even then, it's like you're literally on your own. It's like the truest form of like, if you can't do it yourself, no one's going to do it. Whereas in like a company or something, you know, there's a whole team and there's a deadline and everyone's working towards it. And so everything is like very clear and structured if you're in that kind of business. But usually everything is like thought out. But as someone who's like creative, I'm just going to speak for myself. It's really like, as much as we were just talking about getting support from people, at the end of the day, like I wrote this down recently, like as much as support as you can get from everyone around you, it's still up to you. You know, like you can have your friend tell you every day, like, you need to make music, you need to do this because you're so great and you're so whatever. But unless you take that step to be like, okay, I'm going to actually make something, it won't change anything. And that's the hardest part, is that something that I wanted to talk about with you is like that sort of motivation slash, and more importantly, like discipline to push yourself to be like, let me create something out there. Yeah. So I think, I don't know how you feel about that sort of sentiment as well with, you know, you're creating a podcast or any other creations you have.
Yeah, no, I totally do agree with you. I think let's live in a hypothetical world where I do give up on my art. I think it will always come back. I truly do think it will always come back. I think this is something I was made to do. So whether I'm making a podcast, whether I'm on stage, whether I'm on screen, whether I'm writing, and all those things I really do enjoy doing. All those things that I just like told you about. I will always be out there creating something. There's always some form of motivation that just comes from, I don't know, being out there in the world. And I mean, recently, because for the longest time, you did psych. I don't know if you remember that one lecturer. I think it was around term 3. We were doing social psychology. And we were talking about whether one's introverted or extroverted. And I think often people confuse me for being an extrovert just because of how my people skills are just up there, right? I'm able to maneuver myself around people. But I think she clarified something for us, just as psychology 102, right? Second semester was 102, yeah. She asked a very important question, because I remember that specific day I asked the question. I'm like, this whole thing of introvert, extrovert, ambivert, it confuses me. So from an academic point of view, please explain it. And I specifically remember her asking me, how do you recharge? I said, I recharge by being by myself, but I'm not afraid to be out there. And then she says, then you're an introvert. I was like, what the fuck?
That's funny.
It's the craziest thing ever. But just to link that, it's a crazy thing, because people think, oh, you make art, that means you are extrovert. And I say, well, that's not the case. I do get a lot of my motivation from being out in the world, because you don't get motivation from being inside. I don't know about you.
Bruh, I swear.
Yeah.
No.
You really...
If you're stuck in your room, that's why like COVID was the hardest part of like being creative, is because you're just stuck in your room. Exactly. And your room can only give you so much stimulation.
Exactly. There's only like so much stimulation that you get from just being around those four walls and a door.
Yeah.
But you're out there, and you don't have to be speaking to anyone. You could literally see a baby. You could literally see a pregnant woman. I don't know. I don't know.
Are you trying to say something?
No, I'm not trying to say anything at all. I'm not trying to say.
So, guys, this is the episode where I announce I'm a dad.
No. It was the funniest thing ever, because the previous episode, it had something to do with the baby. I think there's a theme here. And then the last episode of season 1, there was something about a baby with one of my other friends, Bianca, and just a quick ad break. Do you remember Lisa?
Yes.
Remember Lisa, tall, colored girl?
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember.
How could you forget her, man? We were literally a trio. Lisa and my friend Bianca, they look a whole lot alike. And the crazy thing is, when I told Lisa, I'm like, you look like my friend Lisa. I mean, you look like my friend Bianca. And she's like, Bianca who? I said, Bianca Lakey. It's like, oh my word, we went to the same school. I was like, oh my goodness.
The world is so small, bro.
The world is so small.
Small world after all.
But
that's crazy.
Yeah, man. Anyway, you could literally just get inspiration from anything, and I often like what started this podcast. I told my previous guest Paloma, what started this podcast was heartbreak, but it was me dealing with the heartbreak, but also me speaking to myself in my own room, and kind of being my own therapist at the same time. And I was like, you know what, fuck it, man, I have a lot to say.
So I'm gonna say it. Everyone's gonna listen to me.
I have a lot to say. And I really do enjoy making art. Whether it's crappy, I don't know. I write stuff on Medium. And I have a podcast. So I kind of like dip my feet wherever I can dip them.
Creatively.
Creatively.
I think I definitely. What's funny is I'm basically an extrovert, like through and through. Because I do get my energy from people. Like, it's literally insane. The way I explain it is I'll like hang out with people, and as soon as I get home, like let's say I'll be out with friends, and then I'll come home, and I'll have like way more energy. Like I'm literally for like an hour, I'm like listening to music, I'm like dancing. Like that's where I get my energy from, is by being with people. So it's funny, but I think it's also the same thing where like you have to go outside, like you have to have external stimuli in order to like get the gears going internally, you know, like because sometimes it's a matter of you have everything you need within yourself, but you need like something externally to like ignite that, you know,
Yeah, exactly.
whether it be a memory, whether it be a thought pattern, whether it be like there was just something missing in your synapses in your brain, but then suddenly you saw like, I don't know, two people hugging, and then you're like, oh, I remember this one time with X, Y, and Z, and then you start going on tangents and tangents, and then you make a song.
Exactly.
But yeah, I definitely agree with you with needing outside stimulation and not just chilling inside all the time.
Yeah. Actually, on that note, might I add, I wrote a piece, right, which is not out there. It's not out there yet.
Ooh, unreleased, exclusive,
world
premiere.
Yeah. I wrote a piece, and I sent it to a friend, a female friend of mine, and she read it, and she's like, "Dude, why don't you want to take this out?" I was like, Ish, "I don't know, man. I don't know. It seems very creepy-ish." The reason, my reason for saying that was, I went out to the mall. I went to go like buy some toothpaste or something. I don't know. I needed something. Something for my toiletry bag was missing, so I went to go buy. And in the queue, there was this girl in front of me, and goodness gracious, Max, she was gorgeous. And you know me, man. I'm very I'm very easy with people. I can strike a conversation, you know. It's very easy. You're chilled. Yeah. I literally kept on. I was like, maybe if I no, what if I
You're trying like all the tactics. You're like,
you know,
do I talk about my fit? Do I talk about like where we are? Do I talk about
exactly? I kept overthinking it. Thinking it, and I mean, at the time, I was in a relationship, but it wasn't. I didn't. Yeah, you know, it was so. I was like, okay, what do I do? Like, man, goodness, she's so pretty. I was like, okay, fuck it. You know what? Fine, cool. I'm just gonna keep it in, and I'm gonna write about it. And I did exactly that. But I think at some point, I'll take it out. It's on my Google Drive. I'll take it out.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And is it, like, what is the theme of obviously you don't have to, since it's not out, but I'm curious as to, like, what's the theme from that observation of you seeing this pretty woman and then trying to say something but then not saying anything?
Oof. Oh, my goodness. Take me back. When was the last time I opened that piece? Listen, there's an element of romance to it.
Okay.
There's a lot of mystery because I'm trying to figure her out. I'm trying to figure out her politics. I'm trying to read this person. You know, I'm trying to see
without saying anything.
Without saying anything. By the way she holds herself in that line. By the way she, you know, takes in the room. I'm trying to suss out her confidence. So there's an element of mystery. There's an element of romance. There's I'm trying to figure out like by the things that she's buying. What kind of person are you?
But you know what's? Do you mind if I interject?
No, go for it.
With that observation, because the thing is, I have that too, where I have like these assumptions about someone, like just based off of, you know, I think because we both did sociology and like psychology, where we think about people and how they, you know, react and act in certain situations.
Yeah.
But I think until you really speak to someone, you won't know shit. Because I remember, like, you would look at someone, and even yourself, sometimes you act certain ways depending on where you are. So sometimes you could look at someone, for example, let's say in this case it was that pretty girl, and you could see, like, the way they were walking, the way they were standing, or whatever they were buying. and you could be looking at the facial expressions, and you're like, you already have assumptions to them.
Yeah.
But then if you would then talk to them, you know, you can have the 180 of like all those assumptions go out the window, and it's like, oh, this person is actually completely opposite to how they just were because they were just in their own world in this context. So I always find that interesting that depending on where you are, you'll be acting in a certain way. You know, whether if you're by yourself shopping, or if you're with your friend shopping, or if you're with your mom shopping, you know, like that context completely changes, you know, not like who you are, but your behavior in a public setting. So I do think that that can sometimes be a factor of like the assumptions you ascribe to someone.
Yeah. That's a very good point. That is a very good point. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think she was with her mom at the time.
Eesh, that's the tough one.
Exactly, it's a very tough one.
You can't say anything because now what? Your mom's like, "What's going on? Where are you going with my daughter?"
Exactly. And the time I was visiting home and where I come from, man, just the racial politics are very clear. You know, it's so just to put out there, like she white woman, and you never like you're never sure, man. You're never sure because as much as we're told we live in a rainbow nation, you're not sure, man. You're not sure. Yeah.
We're rainbow nation.
You know, you'll never know up until you, like as you mentioned, you'll never know up until you speak to someone. Approach them with curiosity as opposed to those preconceived ideas that you already have of that person. Because then I think what tends to happen, and I've seen it with myself and with how people approach me, not everyone, but there's some people out there, how they approach someone with preconceived ideas, and it sometimes feel like you are auditioning for them because it's like, prove me wrong about those preconceived ideas that I have of you. Yeah.
That's true.
Exactly. But
or even like something small as like your interests. You're like, oh, because I think, like, just for example, you're looking at a built dude who looks pretty strong. Okay, he probably goes to the gym, he probably does sport, so he'd probably not like, I don't know, this film noir stuff that I like.
Yeah.
But, you could talk to them and then they're like, oh, bro, that's like my jam. Like, I love that shit. So I think obviously humans use stereotypes for a reason, just because it's like a survival mode of like, okay, these people act this way because of X, Y, and Z. But at the end of the day, like, every person has so much to them that basically I have this like theory that I've always talked about since I worked at a pet store.
Yeah.
Because like customers would come in every single day, and everyone was basically like a Rubik's Cube, right? So everyone is this Rubik's Cube that gets presented in front of you, and it's kind of up to you to figure out each face of that Rubik's Cube. And once the easiest face is the first one. Like, it's the surface level, like, oh, I present you to me, this is who I am, this is where I'm from. Okay, I have the first face of the Rubik's Cube. But that's the easiest part. But the hardest is the more faces you're trying to uncover, that's where it becomes harder. And basically my point of this is just saying that, like, when you meet someone and you have those assumptions, first try to figure out their first face of that Rubik's Cube. And then from there you can work on. Because I remember there was a guy who came into the pet store one time, and he was like very angry, or like very, not angry, more like irritated.
Yeah.
And I was like, oof, this is going to be something to deal with. And he was talking to me, blah, blah, blah. And then at some point I realized he has an accent. And the thing is, I speak French because my family is Congolese in Belgium. So I was like, oh, he has a French accent. And I was like, excuse me, sir, do you speak French? he's like, yes, I speak French or what a bit. And I was like, ah,
Is
monsieur.
that?
I was like, yeah, that's what he was like. And he was like, where? I speak it. What problem? And I'm like, oh shit, well, me too. And then I start speaking French. And then immediately, like, his whole aura, his whole energy, like, shifts.
Yeah.
Like, 180. And suddenly becomes this, like, oh, it's been so long since I've spoken French. Because it was in South Africa. And it feels so good to speak it. And I was like, damn, I just needed to figure out this, like, one detail or one face of this person to truly, like, just to get a glimpse of them.
Yeah.
Because if all I had was what they presented me with, I'd have been like, yeah, this guy's just an annoyed dude who's having a bad day.
Yeah.
But if you take the time to, like, assess, okay, can I figure something out about this person? You'll open up. And it can be about, like, anything, even, like, interests. Like, oh, you like watching, I don't know, Marvel movies. And they're like, oh, bro, me too. Have you watched the da-da-da-da? So, yeah, I don't know what my overall point was at the end of this. But...
No. You made a valid point. You made a very valid point. Because I want to just hop on and just piggyback quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Because
go ahead.
I think the one thing that I always do when I do meet people is, and especially if I notice that your guard is up, the one thing that I look for is how can I make sure that you drop your guard? Like, how?
Yeah.
I look, it's like, okay, cool. Some commonalities there, for sure.
Yeah.
There is no way that we don't have
always commonalities.
Always.
Yeah, it's always.
That when people like tell me, like, whether it's relationships, friendships, or just anything, people are like, oh, we just didn't have enough in common. I say, no, that's some bullshit. Just say you were lazy and you didn't want to find out. They personally, I don't know if I'm living in my own idealistic world, but I'm glad you agreed. There are always commonalities, and I always look for, okay, cool, how can I make sure you drop your guard? And I'm not trying to make sure you drop your guard so I can manipulate anything.
I was just about to say, like, the evil version of that is like, yes, drop it. Like, so I can get your number. Drop your guard, you fool.
Drop your guard.
Drop your guard, and it's like a fake commonality. You're like, oh yeah, me too. I love makeup channels. Oh, that's crazy. Yeah, I love that shit.
I love makeup channels, bitch. Yeah.
But yeah, I get you with the dropping the guard.
Yeah, and I do think it's important. By the way, Max, you are my very, very first male guest. Can you believe it?
Really?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Damn, bro. Dudes don't want to talk, huh?
Yeah, dudes don't want to talk, man.
Dudes don't want to talk.
Dudes don't want to talk. I'm
That's
like,
tough.
come on, gents.
Because women don't talk, bro. Women don't talk.
Yeah, everyone's just trying to be nonchalant. I don't know why.
Yeah, exactly.
But I do have a message from you, from the previous guest.
Yeah.
It's from
okay.
Paloma. I have no clue how to pronounce her surname. She's Italian, so I'm not gonna butcher it. I'm just gonna tell you that she's Paloma.
Okay.
Paloma says, even if you make a wrong decision, if you move with your heart open, it's never a wrong decision. All doors will open. That's from Paloma. It's for you. Yeah.
That's tough. Because you know what's funny is that the song I just released is literally like about that.
Yeah, no, I love your song. I added your song to one of my playlists.
Hey,
because
let's go.
I felt like it belonged in that playlist, and I'll send you that playlist, and you'll tell me if I'm wrong, because I felt like I was like, and that's my best playlist, because
hey, damn, bro, I'm on it.
I'm gonna send it to you.
Okay, definitely.
It's so top tier in my opinion that I even made it a private playlist.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Hey, Lord have mercy, man.
If someone gets sent that private playlist, they're like, damn, bro, he's letting me into his inner sanctum.
You know what I'm
He's
saying, my
dropped his
brother?
guard.
You know what I'm saying, my brother? But I'm also glad that you mentioned that guys don't want to talk, because I think that's a
Yeah.
beautiful segue into men's mental health. Don't you think?
Yeah, that's very, very well done.
Yeah.
Very well done.
Yeah, I thought, I was like, oh, let me catch that quickly. Before we speak for another 10 minutes, and then
Yeah.
it's like, oh wait, oh shit.
And then another tangent comes up. Yeah.
Yeah, another tangent comes up. Good. I'm glad
Yeah.
it came up. I've been wanting to have male guests on my show, because a lot of people ask, why do you just have females? And I'm like, hey man, gents don't want to speak, man. They don't want to speak.
Gents don't want to speak, bro. They don't want to open up.
They don't want to open up, and it's often awkward when you open up. And yeah, I don't know why. Based on your own experience, right?
Yeah.
And I'll share mine as well.
Yeah.
Why do you think us as guys, even when we have formed a bond, right?
Yeah.
There some awkwardness around just sharing a level of vulnerability.
That's a tough one.
It's a tough one. It's a question I ask all the time.
Yeah. I think it's tougher now to answer, just because now in my life, I am blessed to have so many guy friends who I can be vulnerable to.
Yeah.
So I have to go back in time to where that wasn't the case. And I remember it was what period? I know that I'm much more vulnerable now, because I know this is a stupid metric to equate to, but I allow myself to cry during movies.
Yeah.
And I remember before I would be yeah, this is sad, but who cares? But now I'll cry. I'll be this is so sad, this is bad, and I even cry in front of my homies and be this is tough. But why do guys, I think, I guess there could be the dynamic of the gender stereotypes.
Yeah.
But I don't really want to play into that. I think it's, I guess it is a stereotype. I don't know. It's just that with guys, I think sometimes we think we don't need to talk. You know what I mean? Sometimes, because guys at times can be so simple. In general, it's if I don't like you, I don't like you. That's it.
Yeah. It ends
if we
there.
got beef, then with women there'll be a lot more talk, and there'll be a lot more, back talk. There'll be a lot more sophisticated conversations to get things going. But with guys, it's hey, bro, we ain't it or we ain't it. But then when it comes to internally with talking with a guy, I think we don't want to admit that there's something wrong, just because we want to always have the perception of everything's all right,
Yeah.
I guess with the stereotype of a guy needs to be strong for the people around him or for his woman or other man, I think there's a perception of guys that have to be strong all the time.
Yeah.
And that if you are vulnerable, it's be vulnerable to your mom, be vulnerable to maybe that one friend who's a girl. But even then, it's nah, you can only be vulnerable to your mom or your girlfriend. That's it. But I don't know. I'm trying to come up with a reason. Do you have a theory as to why guys don't want to open up?
Okay. Like I said, it's a question that I ask all the time, right? So therefore, if I ask it all the time, that means I haven't actually even found the answer. But
yeah.
But I do. I mean, just by just existing, I do make up my own theories based.
Hey.
based off like my own personal examples, and so if I take a look at a lot of the guy friends that I've had, they've either often had absent fathers, if not absent fathers, distant fathers. So fathers who are there, and mainly his job is to pay the bills, pay the school fees, and
Yeah, pay the school. You know how much I pay for your school fees?
yeah, it's like you know how much I pay for his school fees. And make sure he has those Air Jordans. Make sure he has those Nikes. You know, and that's his job. But that emotional part is not there. And as humans, we of course, man, we make associations. We're not stupid.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I mean, you see it in kids as well. And kids make associations real quick.
Bruh, kids are smart.
Kids are smart.
It's scary.
I always
Kids
say
are smart.
you should hang out with you should hang out with toddlers or babysit. You'll notice how smart these motherfuckers are, man.
Bruh. If you give them like the tools, or you give them like the proper information, they will learn quick. And they'll learn
quickly. Like it's so bizarre. Kids are flippin' smart.
Yeah.
But anyway, and I think it's
It should be all other tangent. Kids are smart.
Exactly.
Maxime, Kasasa.
I think it's based also like with the kind of associations we make, right? And then you grow up, and then you kind of cement that association, and you say, but that's the case. That's just how the world is socialized, right? And then maybe when you encounter the first guy ever to do that, there's always that like stereotype, like, man, like that's so, nah, dude, man, you chilling with the boys now. It's like, yo, my guy, I need to open up, man.
It's actually such a good point, because with the dudes, it'd be like, nah, bro, you're with the boys. It's time to have fun. It's time to get fucked. You know, it's time to get rowdy.
Yeah.
But if someone's like, yeah, man, I've actually been having problems.
Exactly.
Why are you bringing down the mood, bro?
Bro, you killing the mood, dog. No, bro.
We're trying to get some bitches out here.
Exactly. That's exactly how the narrative goes. Like, nah, bro, you see now, bro, now. Now the bitches don't want to talk, dog.
This is why you're single, motherfucker.
Yeah, exactly. This is why you don't get women, dog. You see, it's because of you, bruh.
It's because of you.
So I just like you, man. I really, honestly, Max, I don't have the answer, but I think what I tend to do is I try and break that, because one of my very good friends, Charles, when I first met him, I met him because he was my digs mate. I don't know if you've ever, like, when you get a digs, and then sometimes like an estate agent will ask you, like, do you have a friend you could live with? And I say no. So if someone is available, it's fine. I'm willing to share with them. That's what exactly happened with Charles and I. I got a place to live, and then Charles moved in, and I specifically remember him asking, like, bro, why are you so nice? Like, why are you so welcoming? And I said,
So nice.
I'm like, what the fuck do you expect me to do, man? Like, to make this place hostile? I can't do that. Like, imagine, like, your first warm welcome is me being a dick. Like,
yeah, bro. Okay, so this is where the toasted cheese gets made. This is the washing machine.
Exactly.
I use the washing machine on weekends.
Actually, wait, Max, just give me a second. I just want to go fill up, because the dogs are back.
All good.
So I just want to just quickly fill up on my drink, and I want to close the door.
Okay.
I'll be back now. Let's go, Max. But yeah, it's such a weird thing, because I'm just jumping straight into it. I hope you're okay with that.
Yeah. I'm
No,
ready.
it's a really weird thing, because some of the friends that I made, even during the time I was in Stellies, They were like your B-Ac, B-Com, like your corporate people.
Yeah. I get you. Yeah, bro, we're gonna go out, eh?
Yeah, and we like had formed a bond, but suddenly we graduate, and like when you're an artist, you take a different direction.
Yeah.
Especially when you're
Yeah.
dedicated to your art. And then usually
That's true.
Yeah, usually people who follow a very specific narrative, they immediately get a job, 9 to 5, man, same old. And suddenly,
Yeah.
there's a clash of how our worlds function. And just in that, I lost those friends.
Really?
Yeah, because there was a lack of understanding of how things, work for me. And there was just a lack of curiosity. There was a lack of companionship. There was a lack of...
Empathy,
exactly. Keyword.
Yeah,
Thank you,
it's a
actually.
huge one. Empathy.
Lack of comfort. Lack of... Yeah. So I don't think we'll ever figure it out, even as much as like we've made it a topic.
Yeah.
I don't ever actually think like we'll ever figure it out. But there's only so much you can talk about. Yeah.
No, for sure, but it's just unpacking it continuously till you find like your own conclusion to it, So for anyone listening, like, they might be like, oh shit, something you said or I said was like that hit home, and then from there you think further. But I actually want to unpack what you were talking about with your dad, or like not with your dad, but just in fathers in general.
Oh, fathers in general.
I think because that's definitely a running theme with previous generations of like fathers not being emotionally available.
Yeah.
Because their fathers weren't, and it's a cycle. I definitely think nowadays it's a lot more normalized to be open with guys. So hopefully, the next generation, well, we can say in our more Western ideology, it's a lot more open.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to speak for like the entire world, but I definitely do see that, for example, with like my own dad, where it was like, oh yeah, in the beginning, I remember when I would talk to my mom, like I knew that she would be emotional, and because like I never saw my dad cry, I was like, oh, I guess subconsciously guys aren't supposed to cry, so I see my mom cry, and I've seen my friends who are girls cry, so it's like, oh yeah, I don't have to be vulnerable with my dad, because it's a weird thought. I think my friend and I had this thought too. When you're a kid and you don't see like your father be vulnerable with you, you think, oh, guys aren't meant to show emotion or like express vulnerability.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't exist. But but like as you get older and you realize that your parents are just individuals like you, you're like, damn, actually my dad's been going through some tough times. We just never said anything,
Yeah.
And those few times where like now I've been a lot more vulnerable with my dad, and he has too. And it's like crazy to be like, damn, he was actually going through, these thoughts and stuff like back then. And only now we're talking about it, or now it's like being brought up to the surface. And it's such a shame, because it's like, I could have been, well, everything happens for a reason, but it's also like, it's a shame, because then I would have been much more empathetic towards my dad, for
Precisely, yeah.
For reasons in my life. But I think that, that's what a word I was saying earlier with your friend who sort of goes his own way but doesn't understand your way. It's like, empathy is a huge thing. And I think people get confused between empathy and sympathy, because I watched like a podcast about like a CIA agent talking about this. And he was saying like sympathy is being able to feel someone's emotion, like, oh, someone is really sad and I can feel with them that they're sad and I'm sympathetic towards why they're sad. But empathy is purely the functional capacity to be able to understand someone. So to be able to put yourself in their shoes, you don't have to be sympathetic. Like, for example, I'm trying to think of like an extreme case. It's like, it's like you can be empathetic towards, let's say, I'm trying to think of a good example. Oh, this is it. Have you seen Marvel, like Thanos and all of that?
Just a little bit. I'm not the biggest Marvel fan, but
Okay,
I do know who Thanos is.
Well, yeah, basically, spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, but basically he like snaps half the universe away.
Okay.
And his whole thing is like, oh, there's too many people, overpopulation and stuff. And the thing is, empathy is like, I can understand where you're coming from with your reasoning. Like, I can understand what you're thinking and who you are and what makes you. But sympathy is, and now I feel for you and I agree with like how you're feeling, you know? So empathy is purely like, oh, I can understand where you're coming from, you know? So I think with the friend you were mentioning of, he's like in like the business world and stuff like that, he didn't have enough empathy to understand that, oh, what you're doing is different, but he can still understand it. It's like, it's not alien. Like he also listens to music or watches movies or has encountered creative things. It's just that now you're one of the people creating those things. But because I think we've been brought up in society or with dads who aren't or haven't shown empathy. I think that's the thing. It's like everyone has empathy, but, you know, with dudes, they're not really going to show it. And I think that's been a big reason why some friendships, especially with guys, just like slowly drift away because they're like, bro, I don't understand you. This is the way I live my life. That's the way you live your life. But, you know, I guess we're just not meant to be because, you know, we're just too different.
Yeah.
Which is really sad.
Yeah, very sad. Yeah, you give me a lot to think about, eh?
But do you feel with your friends, like your guy friends, since we're on about men, do you feel like you have guy friends that you can be vulnerable with?
So far, I would say like I told you about the you know, I just recently, like just now, I told you about the friend who was my digs mate, but then actually became a good friend. I can be very vulnerable with him, and he can also like come to me and I mean, the one time, I don't want to like spill his beans because I've already like mentioned his name.
You done it, and then the one time.
Yeah, the one time he called me and there was something he wanted to, get off his chest, and I felt like, oh, okay, cool, nice. I felt so glad that he knew that, okay, cool, I'm going through this. This is the first person I'm gonna call.
That you're available,
exactly, and I'm available. And I mean, when he called, he asked like, "Are you available to talk about? I want to talk about our XYZ." And I was like, "Yeah, man, let's talk about it. Let's go." Yeah. And I mean, I felt appreciated. I mean, he just recently handed in his thesis, and he sent me a message, and he's like, he sent the whole thesis to me. Because there's a level of vulnerability to showing people your academic work as well, Yeah. And he's like,
I hope I don't look stupid or...
Exactly. And he's like, please look at the acknowledgements page. I acknowledged you as there.
Hey.
That's a different kind of friendship, man, Yeah. So I do have a friend that I'm able to talk to, but then most of my guy friends, we usually talk about politics, and I do have another friend, Gideon. He's from Nigeria. He literally is the opposite of Nigerian stereotype. in my personal opinion, and which is something I've also said to him before. I was like, you're not like hardcore and stuff. But yeah, he's also another person who, and recently, so it seems, since you've just joined my podcast, it seems it's you now.
Hey. Yeah, bro. I'm I'm emotionally available for you, so yeah, bro.
Me too.
Imagine
Man.
on this.
I have a lot of emotional capacity, and I think my EQ is somewhere there. You know.
No, it's really true. Of having those friends, because I have an image up. If you want, I can send it to you. It's from this anime.
Yeah.
And they basically, it says, just talking to someone makes my heart much lighter. And I was like, it's so true, because a lot of times, like, we'll have these worries, and especially with dudes, because we bottle it up a lot.
Yeah.
Like, it'll get to the point where it affects, like, everything, because, you know, I believe in, like, mind, body, and soul all affect each other. So, you know, if you have these problems that you're not speaking out on, it's sort of like this clogging up of your emotional state, your biological and spiritual state. And, you know, when I've learned that just talking to someone about it makes it so much easier. Not that it makes... I think it makes it easier, because then it's out there and it feels less like I'm the only one trying to fight it, you know? Like, I know you're going through some shit, you know, I'm going through some shit, but we'll go through it together, because now we both know what our own demons are, you know?
Yeah.
And to someone, my demons are like crazy to me, but if I tell it to my friend, they're like, nah, bro, it's chill because of X, Y, and Z. And you just need, a lot of the times, you just need an outside perspective. And with dudes, because we're guys, we can also understand each other, but you just need that outside perspective of like, oh, what you're going through is not crazy. Like, I've thought about that too.
Yeah.
But, you know, I'm here for you to hear it, and I can tell you ways of how I went about, you know, working through it. But, I really do believe that talking to someone, I have this metaphor of like, when you tell someone, like, when you're being vulnerable with someone, you're basically giving like your metaphorical shit to them. Like, here's a bunch of my shit, and I put it on top of you, but they can carry it, because one day they're going to come to you and be like, hey, bro, I've got my own shit. Here's mine. You know, so it's an equivalent exchange. And so when you're able to share to that capacity of being vulnerable, everyone's light gets lower, because you're able to just disperse it to multiple people and them to you. Yeah.
Man.
I'll send you the...
Yeah, please do. Because if you send me something and there's some knowledge in it, I'll watch it. I'll listen to it. I'm a sucker for knowledge, man. So, wow, man. Oh, and you just did it now. What the?
Yeah, bro. I'm quick. I'm quick with it. I'm playing games. I'm trying to slide into these DMs.
You know what I'm saying, my boy? Which anime is this? I don't watch anime, by the way, but like I still want to know, because I have watched it.
It's called It's called Kaguya-sama.
Okay.
It's basically this anime about it's a comedy. It's a rom-com, but basically the two protagonists like really like each other, and they're in high school. But the whole conceit of the show is that whoever confesses first loses the war. So it's like love is war. And it was just a scene where like this girl really likes someone, this other girl in the show, but she like didn't tell anyone, but then she told someone she never would have thought to tell.
Yeah.
And then she felt like a million times lighter. And I was like, oh, I completely vibe with that, because I know I've had things on my chest that sometimes I don't want to talk about, but then as soon as I bring it out there and say it to someone, I'm like, oof, it feels a lot better. You know, it doesn't go away, but it's like, now I know that it's accounted for. You know, it's not just in my head. It's like someone else is aware of it.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And you were either offered perspective. If not perspective, you were heard.
You heard, yeah. That's a tough a tough skill to learn.
You know?
Is when to listen and when to give a perspective. Because sometimes you can read it the wrong way. Like someone tells you the whole thing, and then you're like, well, you know what I would do? And they're like, bitch, I don't want to hear what you said. I don't want to hear what you just said. I just want you to hear me. You know?
Just hear me out, you know?
Yeah.
And then, you know, sometimes you'll be offered like just a acknowledgement. But I think the one thing that people miss, and not to put myself on a pedestal or anything, but the one thing that I do usually when people like vent is, okay, cool, what do you need from me? Because I've heard you, trust me.
Yeah.
But like, what do you need from me? And then if you tell me, okay, cool, if you say, okay, if you were in my shoes, what would you do? Then cool, I'll tell you.
Then I'll tell you, yeah.
Or
yeah,
that's true. Say, no, I just wanted to voice it out. Then I say, okay, cool. Do you want a hug? You know?
Do you want these lips?
Nah, come on.
We the boys, bro. We the boys. Come on now.
Nah, my boy. Nah. Boundaries.
But you said, you know, you wanted me to tell you what I wanted. I want those lips.
Wait, listen. If that happens, I'll be like, nah, man. Respectfully. Nah,
but
man.
Yeah, I think what you touched upon there is really key in communication. Because that's something I think we get so like muddled in our own head that we make like so many assumptions of what someone wants. Because a lot of the time you just project what you want onto someone else.
Exactly.
So I think that's a really good thing of being like, what? Because sometimes like I remember I would say something to someone, and in my head I'm like, I hope they react or say this, but then they do something else, and I'm like, oh, okay. When I should just say, not like I want people to be like, oh, please react this way when I tell you this, but, you know, sometimes if you just tell people, oh, I would want you to, I don't know, get hyped for me, or I want you to, like you said, just asking them, oh, what do you actually want from me in this conversation?
Yeah.
You know, doesn't always have to be explicitly said. Like every time you start a conversation, like, hey, bro, what do you want? But just acknowledging that, like, oh, someone's telling you something for a reason. You know, now you're trying to, and instead of trying to, mental math it in your head of like, what are the reasons? Like, you can just ask, and like, why are you bringing this up to me? Because I just want to be sure how I should approach what you've just said to me. Yeah. And that's tough.
Yeah, it is tough. It is tough. And
especially with closest people to you.
Exactly. Because, I mean, man, I don't think you ever want to be in a space where you feel misunderstood. Especially, as you mentioned, the people who are really close to you. You don't want to feel misunderstood around them.
Exactly. So you'd rather not say anything.
Well, that's an option.
I just mean like the default, because it's like either you are going to bring up this thing, like let's say with dudes, because we were talking about how men can be not vulnerable. Yeah. Because it's such a hard concept to bring up and to start being vulnerable, it's a lot easier to just not do it instead of like trying to now bridge the gap of vulnerability, and then after that communicating what your vulnerability is so that they can understand. Because basically as the person who's trying to open up, you basically have to follow them along down your like reasoning for everything and hope that they understand. And you know, sometimes the person hearing you is like, I actually don't understand, but I can sympathize with you. You know, like I can sympathize with your feelings, but I'm not 100% with you in your reasoning. So, and that's a tough thing to do because, you know, it's a workout. Like it's a mental workout to truly sit down, listen to someone, to what they're saying, and follow along their pattern of thought because it's not your own. You know? And on top of that, being a guy. So it's like all those layers on top, you're like, this is because the thing is, I've noticed. Sorry if I'm like unraveling.
No. Go for it.
Okay, what I've noticed is that like the hardest part is the beginning of anything, like whether it be a thesis, whether it be a conversation, whether it be whatever.
Yeah.
But once you start that unraveling, bruh, nothing can. If someone is there to listen, nothing can hold you back. Because then you start slowly unraveling, and then that's when you become. You know what it is? It's like you are this. Like think of a present, and because you've never told anyone, you keep wrapping, like Christmas wrapping around this problem, and then finally when you open up, you slowly start unraveling, and at the end you just be like, oh damn, this problem was actually like really small, but I just kept wrapping it around with my self-doubt that it became much bigger than what it was actually.
I like that analogy.
Yeah, I just came up with that now.
Yeah. There's so many like analogies that one like comes up with just by talking.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like that analogy.
Metaphors.
Yeah, man, you better write that bar down for your next song. I don't know.
Hey, bro, don't worry. I write down my life lessons.
You better compile that album because I'm waiting for it, man.
Don't worry about that. That's also
man. I just submitted my podcast for the these awards.
Ooh.
Yeah.
In South Africa or like internationally?
International.
Damn, son.
So I was like, man, why not?
Exactly, bro. Sometimes you gotta have a bit of, because I think there's especially when creating, this is something I learned from a book club I had, was like, because there's
pause.
so much.
Book club.
Yes. No, it's not mine. It's my friends that I've been going to.
Does it still exist?
Yeah, it still exists, but it's in Brussels. It's in Belgium. And
do you guys read in French or in?
No, it's in English, and it's actually a concept that you could definitely start. It's like we literally, there's a book and there's the theme of the book, right? And then all that happens is that we read an excerpt from the book, so like maybe like a paragraph or something, and then there'll be a question. So for example, I'll literally like read one of the questions. I have it hanging on my wall.
Yeah.
Wait, let me just move my mic.
Okay,
so like for example,
do that. Yeah.
There's one that was about. Oh yeah, I think it was LeBron. It was either LeBron James or Kobe.
Yeah.
And just talking about legacy and like what it means to leave something behind.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the theme of the book club for that day, that book. And then I'll read an excerpt, and then the question would be, what legacy do you want to leave behind? And then basically in a round table of like, let's say 10 people, everyone just unpacks what that means to them. And it's such a great moment because everyone just gets to express what that means to them. And either you'll be like, oh, I completely disagree with that, or I completely agree with that. But you just get to hear other perspectives of what that question is about. But what was my point about the book club?
Sorry, I actually interrupted you. You were going to tell me about the book club, something that has to do with the book club. I'm at fault, but I got distracted.
No, because I think I got distracted because you told. Yeah. But what was my point about the book club? Like, what was I talking about it with? Damn, I'm completely lost. What were we talking about before the book club that made me like bring it up?
That's the thing. I interrupted you. That's my point. That's the point I'm trying to make is that I interrupted you.
Yes. That's fine.
Because the second I heard book club, I was like, bro.
Oh yeah.
Please,
you wanted to go into.
Yeah, and I want to join. If there's a WhatsApp group, I really want to join.
Ish. Yeah, no, it's an in-person thing.
Oh, it's an in-person thing. I mean, yeah, don't stress then. It's fine. Yeah, I'll start my own. Yeah.
Damn, but what were we talking about?
Flip.
Ish, this is bad.
It's not bad. It's fine.
lost. I'm sure someone who is like listening is like, motherfuckers, you're talking about vulnerability.
Man,
Like 2 seconds, you were almost there.
I think the first person who's gonna
Yeah.
who's gonna realize what we're talking about before the listeners is me, because I have to edit this shit.
Yeah, you'd be like, no. You're like, oh, he was just cooking. He was just about to cook.
Yeah, and you were cooking, man. You were cooking. I interrupted you. I'm really sorry about that.
Nah, it's all good.
Yeah.
It's all good.
But yeah, man, I'm really like proud of your emotional intelligence from guy to guy.
Thanks.
It's,
You too, bro. I'm blessed that we can still be in contact, and especially in this capacity where it's like more than just, hey, bro, what's up? You know?
Yeah,
like what
yeah,
you're doing.
yeah,
Like,
precisely. Or just yeah, or I don't know, or just having each other's
just
numbers,
billing.
but we don't use them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, because that's really, I think something my cousin told me like a couple years ago was like, if people want to see you, they'll see you. You know,
Yeah.
because sometimes you'll have someone's number, someone's Instagram, and you know you'll always say, "Oh yeah, we'll hang out or we'll do something." But if neither party is doing anything, then it's like, bro, you just don't want to see each other. And sometimes it's not even like a personal or like I don't like you, but it's just you're just not on the top of mind and you're not in their train of thought, which is
Yeah.
completely fine. Like people. You're not meant to be friends with every single person or stay friends with every single person.
Yeah. I think that's something that I needed to hear, because
Yeah?
I always think I'm Bob the Builder. I think I can fix everything. I always feel like,
Hey!
yeah. I mean, it goes back to the whole thing of like, commonality and stuff. And I say, but
Yeah.
like, yeah, come on. Like, I feel like I'm trying. You're not
Yeah.
trying enough. Just try. And if you try
Yeah.
and your effort meets my effort, come on, listen. Well,
Yeah.
Hiroshima, Nagasaki,
that's-
man. Boof.
Bro, that's literally a lesson I learned like back in 2018-19 when it was like I was on Discord a lot, just
Yeah.
life situation. And I was still being my bubbly self, like being friends with everyone. But I had that thing of like, I can talk to anyone, I can fix anyone. But that blew so hard, like back on me, because like it was to the point where I was talking to someone who was like suicidal, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm like mentally and mature enough to talk to this person, but I bit off way more than I could chew. And that finally made me realize, like, I cannot save everyone. Like, I cannot
You can't,
fix everyone. If I can't even, like, help myself, bruh, I can't save anyone. And then, even if I have saved myself, there's only so much energy I have. And why am I going to give it, at the time it was just some random person, but why am I going to give it to some random person when I should be saving it for the closest friends when they truly need it,
Yeah, or like for yourself as well,
For yourself.
'Cause,
Lord have mercy.
Man, because sometimes your cup runs empty, and
Literally.
it's one thing that my one therapist and my other therapist, they always mentioned, like,
Yeah.
why do you think you're Superman? Because you're not. You're
Yeah.
human,
Yeah, literally.
And save something for yourself.
Say something for yourself.
Yeah. Max,
Oh, I'm writing that down, right?
you're writing that down.
I'm writing that down. Save some for yourself. Got that, so.
No, write it
good
down,
one.
Max. Write it down, Max. Max,
Yeah.
I feel satisfied and I feel like full.
Yeah,
but
me
also
too.
in the next hour I have a babysitting gig, so I need to get to
And
that.
you see, it all links back. I saw a child, I saw a pregnant mother, and now you're going to babysitting. It's all full circle.
You know what I'm saying, my boy. But yeah, man, just thanks for this.
No, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, you
It's-
of course you're welcome, man.
It's lovely. I'm really obviously live in the present. Everything happens now, but I'm also really like excited, and I can see the future where it's like, I don't know, years down the line where like we come back and talk on this podcast,
Yeah.
or in whatever format,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh shit, look at where we are now, But it's like, yeah, we'll change as people, but at the same time, like, we'll still be able to talk this way.
Yeah, no, precisely. And I think that, I mean, when we first like managed to, connect
Yeah.
in first year, it was
Yeah.
like this,
Yeah.
There was a
literally.
level, there was like some level of banter. There was
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
were deep chats sometimes, I mean,
Yeah.
I think even Kimberly and I can't remember who else. Kimberly, Kanya, the other guy, I forgot his name. We even came to your place and stuff, and we had like a farewell.
That's true. That's true.
Because
But,
you were leaving, I was leaving.
yeah.
But
That's crazy.
I want to wrap this up, man. Do you have any
Yes.
words for the next guest? It can be the most.
The next guest?
Yeah, it can be the most random thing. It can be deep. It's all up to you. So whatever you feel like saying, you can say to the next guest. I write it down, and
Sure.
yeah.
Since we were talking about friends, I think I'd say, who are the 3 closest friends to you? It doesn't have to be like ranking order, but who do you feel like the 3 people who are closest to you? And what does that say about yourself?
Mm. Mm-hmm.
And it could be anyone. It could literally when I say a friend, it can also be like your parents. It can be your brother.
Yeah.
I just mean, like, who do you see as like the closest friend to you? And then what does that say? The three. And then what does that say about you?
Okay. And I have it down.
Let's go. And the next person is like, God damn, I'm going to have to cut some people out. It's time to cut that. And he starts like shouting out.
The next person's like, you don't have to make that deep.
Bianca, David, Charlize, you're all done, bro. It's a diss track.
Oh, flip, man. But man, I hope you are enjoying Belgium.
Yeah, for sure.
And I hope when I eventually visit Belgium, you'll show me around.
Yeah, it'll be tough because, I'll have to tell you something privately about that, but...
No stress. You don't have to mention it yet.
Yeah. But for sure. No. Like, if I'm in the same city, we're in the same city, we're linking up, bro. That's 100%. For sure.
Okay. Max, thank you, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It was a lovely time, and I'll see you in the future.
Away. Solid, man. You take care, mate.
Bye-bye.
Cheers. So I spoke to Max. Also, I'm realizing there was an opportunity for me to say, I need a Max win. And I didn't take it. I'm only realizing later. Anyway, I mean, I asked Max if I could take just a snippet of his song and give you a feel. So before we just like wrap up the pod, here's Max's song, just a snippet. And you know what? After that, go to Spotify, Apple Music, or whichever platform that you're on. I believe it's also on YouTube Music. Give it a listen. Maxime Kasasa. Honestly. And the name of the song is Enjoy Your Tea Separately. Enjoy Your Tea, separately. Maxime Kasasa. Check it out. And cheers, everyone.
Take it to the bridge.
I know that you've been hurting with your growing pains. Sometimes we don't see eye to eye. We've had our differences in the past, I know it, baby. But now I'm asking why. Don't you know the seasons come and go? Once you reflect about we go, and you'll see like the sea. Yeah.
you've managed to reach the end. This podcast is available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and Google Podcasts, which now will be available on YouTube Music as well. Have yourself a good time. Take care of yourself. And if you feel the need to reach out. I'm on Instagram at It's All Smooth with Kgothi. That's KGOTHI. It's All Smooth with Kgothi. And we can have a chat. Or you could potentially be a guest. Who knows? Alright, folks. Take care.